Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Backseat Noise with Colt Love. This is episode number 5. Today, we have the good homie from the OKC area, Andrew Lee, a.k.a. Mutem, with us.
Yo.
Andrew, thanks for being here with us, man.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your project, Mutem, how it started, or even to start before that, how would you describe it to someone? Like, do you have like an elevator pitch for Mutem, or how would you describe the project in your own words?
I probably should, but I think like the name itself, Mutem, kind of it's a Latin concept that I came up with my wife, who knows a bit more Latin than I do, and it kind of denotes changing and continuing to change, both myself and my work. So really, Mutem kind of started as an experiment and messing around with tape music, tape loops, and then evolved into including video collage, pairing tape loop collage with video. And then when I moved to Oklahoma in 2022, is when I started to kind of want to perform live. So then it became a bit more of a live project, in addition to kind of messing around with recording more long form tracks. And really, kind of from there, it just continued to evolve in ways, adding new processes, finding new ways to just innovate not only my sound, but everything that kind of goes on behind the scenes to what you would see, like if you were to come see me perform live or listen to a record or a tape. That's kind of the gist of it, I suppose. So it's a lot about change and trying out new things.
Where'd you move here from?
I moved here from New York, but originally from Georgia.
Okay, very, very cool.
Yeah,
East Coast.
Yeah, and that, when I was in New York, I was in grad school, and that's a little bit about, there's a little bit of connection about how the project got started. I was presenting, this was during COVID, I was presenting at some online conferences, academic paper presentations, and I was doing one where, my research is on Genesis peorage.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I used this metaphor of tape splicing to talk about their cut-ups with their bodies and the Pandrogyny Project. And there was a fellow in the audience who reached out to me and was like, hey, do you mess around with tape music at all? And at the time I was like, no, I don't. I listen to a lot of these, artists who are in books, like Tape Delay and all, the early industrial stuff. But I hadn't really messed around with it. So that kind of, lit the spark, so to speak, of why I started kind of messing around at home. And then, just kind of figured things out from there. And now here we are.
The anecdote about Genesis peorage is really interesting and something I didn't know, but actually makes a lot of sense now thinking about your project, which kind of has like a psychic TV core sort of element around
100%.
it. I think what I've always really enjoyed about the work you do is not just that sonically you create such pleasing collages and textures, which I personally always likened it to almost like a pseudo plunderphonics project at times, but that it is very multifaceted. And I first became aware of you because of actually your video work and when you were doing shows in Tulsa, and then performed with you at Dissociation, and found it amazing, and then saw that you were doing stuff with like experimental choreography. So there is a very, very thoughtful element.
That's the latest venture.
I think that's so radical. I mean, artists like the Rita in the past have done like a lot of stuff, kind of like avant-garde ballet type stuff. So that's really,
and Psychic TV did ballet sound as well, and other sort of more underground tape artists that are still around. Illusion of Safety has done something with a choreography group, I believe, in New York for a performance. So that's kind of the latest thing that I've been really, really excited about.
That's very cool.
Doing. But the Psychic TV, Throbbing Gristle, just Genesis peorage influences is pretty crucial.
No, it was tasteful. Your paper sounds fascinating. It reminds me a lot of David Novak's Japanoise, where he studied the Japanese noise scene in the 90s and early O's and talked about cultural feedback loops and ethnography between the United States and Japan at the time. So it's all very up my alley.
Sure.
Was there any piece of media or an artist that you feel like, I mean, I guess we kind of touched on that, you feel like really kind of catalyzed your love for like experimental music and arts?
You know, I originally, like, so way back before the discovery of Genesis and industrial, I kind of came into it through almost like new age ambient.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kitaro.
Yeah.
And some of his like live records. I used to really enjoy just kind of being in my room and like being immersed in that kind of sound. That was so vastly different from, you know, other things I was in at the time. It was a big time of post-punk stuff and doom metal and other types of things like that I was listening to. So having that sort of, you know, other side of the spectrum in many ways was my introduction to some of the more long-form kind of ambient, new agey sound that I still very much enjoy, and I think finds its way into a lot of my sound in one way or another.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's one sort of entry point into like the ambient world, I suppose, that I encountered.
Totally. That's radical.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of emphasis in like experimental music and noise and really experimental art as a whole on kind of these like live experiences and the importance of experience it in live context. Can you think of any acts or performances recently or from far past that really stuck with you as far as, you know, a live set goes?
Yeah, I mean, every show. So when I moved to Oklahoma and started putting on shows with Justin and Dissociation, so many of the shows and artists that I've met that have been touring through Oklahoma has just really been quite amazing, and meeting all sorts of people. To find one that stands out is really difficult. To think of one, you know, from this past year, 2025, Acid 87, sort of small collective, you know, based partially, I think, in St. Louis and maybe some in California. Their set was just outstanding. Yeah. And I think they're such a unique act in that they kind of tailor their sets to the cities that they're playing in, giving a bit of sort of some cultural or historical background of the city they're playing in that night and incorporating that into their set.
That's very, very cool.
And it's loud and noisy and punk and it just blew my mind. Yeah. And that was really fun to have them. So that's one that stands out in recent times, but you know, sometimes I have a hard time remembering all the great things that I've been fortunate enough to see.
That's low-key a hotspot question to be able to put on someone.
I mean, to go along with that kind of, you know, ambient sort of dimension. You know, while I was living in New York, I was fortunate to be able to attend some of the ambient church shows.
That's very cool.
And this was again kind of, you know, as things we were all coming back out of COVID, and there was one that was going to be performed at Riverside Church, which at the time I happened to live a stone's throw from. And William Basinski was going to perform the Disintegration Loops.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he unfortunately had to cancel his, you know, participation in the performance, but they arranged like an orchestra to kind of perform the Disintegration Loops.
That's so cool.
So that was a really interesting performance to see, to have, you know, his tape music, which is so profoundly important, be performed in that manner.
Yeah.
Was really kind of cool to see those two worlds kind of coming together. You know, even though he wasn't able to be there that night, it was still kind of remarkable for sure.
That sounds like a very special experience.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Favorite piece of gear?
Any tape player that can do something.
You
other than just play a tape, you know, tape players that can slow stuff down. I love like a 4-track because I can record onto tape loops on different tracks. I use it live to play, you know, filter different tracks in and out, play things backwards. So yeah, any sort of manipulated cassette,
Totally.
you know,
Well,
tape machine. I've had several that have come and gone, and some I miss greatly, but you know, I always like to seek out new things. But yeah, definitely tape players.
I'm right there.
That's what started it all.
I'm right there
for
with
me.
you, man.
So
Yeah, cassette tape is a really special format.
Yeah.
Kind of the embodiment of like DIY art movements and,
for sure.
you know, good tactile piece of art in general. And anymore is kind of revolutionary in and of itself just to make tapes. Final question. If you could collaborate with anyone at any point in time, who would it be? Another kind of hot spot question.
One that I did think about this question a year or two ago when asked, and so I won't state the obvious one of like any Genesis Peorage or TG related project, so I won't say that, but I think a fun one would be Controlled Bleeding.
Oh, yeah.
And
very
they
tasteful.
kind of do that really the great noise stuff, but then also the more like full on, like almost religious sounding big sound songs. So I think that would be a fun one. I don't know how that collab would work out, but you know, that would have been a cool one. Even if it was just like a show, you know, to play a show with them and have that kind of interaction would be pretty rad.
That's radical, man.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, Mutem, thank you. We'll be back with some noise.
Spectacular colors. Sun hit the horizon. 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 Spectacular colors. Sun hit the horizon.
Beautiful. Mutem, everybody. Andrew Lee.